Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Geopolitical and Military News. In this video, we will discuss the withdrawal of the last Russian warship from Crimea and the lessons this teaches us about the future of naval battles. On Monday, July 15, Vice Admiral Alexei Nyspapa, chief of the Ukrainian Navy, reported that the last Russian warship was withdrawn from Crimea and sent to a more distant naval base. Now, only small boats and logistical support ships remain at the Russian naval bases in Crimea. When the Russian invasion began on February 24, 2022, the Russian Black Sea Fleet consisted of 74 ships, with Ukraine sinking or damaging one-third of them, including its flagship, the once mighty cruiser Moskva. But what does the withdrawal of the Russian Navy from Crimea actually mean, and what lessons does this leave us for future naval battles? The Russian Black Sea Fleet is one of the oldest in the world, founded by Prince Potemkin in May 1783, playing a central role in the Russo-Turkish War between 1787 and 1792, with the newly founded Russian fleet defeating the powerful Ottoman fleet in the Battle of the Kerch Strait in 1790. Between the 18th and 19th centuries, that fleet was crucial for defending Russian interests in the Black Sea, with its actions accelerating the weakening of the Ottoman Empire and ensuring the rise of Imperial Russia's influence over the entire Caucasus. At the beginning of the 20th century, after the end of the Soviet Revolution, all ships of the Black Sea Fleet were destroyed. In the 1920s, an ambitious shipbuilding program began, resulting in 400 new vessels. During World War II, after Germany captured Crimea in October 1941, the Russian Black Sea Fleet abandoned its base in Sevastopol, heading to more distant ports, with hundreds of ships lost in the process. After World War II and with the start of the Cold War, the Russian Black Sea Fleet regained much importance, especially after Turkey joined NATO, putting the Bosphorus Strait in the alliance's sphere of influence. However, thanks to the Montreux Convention, signed in 1936, both Russia and NATO are required to respect rules and limits on the types of warships that can pass through the Turkish Straits. For example, the rule that prevents warships over 15,000 tons from transiting effectively bars the operation of aircraft carriers in the Black Sea. This treaty also prevents NATO from maintaining more than 45,000 tons of warships in that sea, and even more compact warships, such as frigates and destroyers belonging to nations not directly bordering the Black Sea, can only remain in the area for a maximum of 21 days. Due to all these limitations, Russia, through its Black Sea Fleet, has always been the dominant naval force in the region, far surpassing the combined naval forces of the alliance, represented by Turkey, Bulgaria, and Romania. Therefore, when the Russian invasion of Ukraine was launched, Vladimir Putin used all the power of his fleet for two main missions: blocking all Ukrainian ports and naval bases and launching long-range missiles against targets within Ukraine. In total, about a quarter of all missiles launched by Russia against Ukraine were fired from ships and submarines in the Black Sea. The threat posed by these vessels was so great that, despite the war primarily occurring on land, the Ukrainians made great efforts to weaken the Russian naval capability. Initially employing anti-ship missiles, a Ukrainian-made missile, the R-360 Neptune, sank the powerful Moskva on April 14, 2022, the largest Russian warship in the Black Sea. The destruction of its flagship led the Russian fleet to adapt, with the first measure being the withdrawal of its ships beyond the range of Ukrainian missiles, which is around 300 kilometers. Even at this distance, the Russian ships were still able to perform their two main missions: blocking Ukrainian ports and naval bases and launching precision and long-range missiles, forcing Ukraine to seek other solutions, such as using missiles directly against the naval bases and ports occupied by Russia. Through this tactic, which included the use of long-range British and French missiles like Storm Shadow, the Ukrainians managed to hit and damage about 10 Russian vessels, including even a submarine in the dry dock of the Sevastopol base. Not even the imposing headquarters of the Russian fleet was spared, with Ukrainian missiles completely destroying it. For smaller Russian vessels like boats, the Ukrainians continued using aerial drones, but as the Russians also moved these boats away from the Ukrainian coast, Kyiv was forced to innovate once again, increasingly employing naval drones. The result was a fleet composed of hundreds of naval drones that allow the Ukrainians to carry out swarm attacks, with dozens advancing and attacking from multiple directions simultaneously, greatly complicating evasive maneuvers and the crew's defensive actions. It was this mix of solutions, starting with the use of traditional anti-ship missiles, evolving to the use of long-range precision missiles against ports and naval bases, and culminating with the use of naval drones in swarm attacks, that allowed Ukraine to sink or damage about a third of all vessels in the Russian Black Sea Fleet, forcing Russia to withdraw all its warships stationed at bases on the Crimean Peninsula, sending them to much more distant bases. With this withdrawal, Russia acknowledged its inability to operate freely in a sea that, before the war, Moscow classified as a Russian lake. The lessons left by this are many, with the first being that we must never underestimate our adversary. By operating large warships less than 300 kilometers from the Ukrainian coast, Russia offered the opportunity for attacks with anti-ship missiles, leading to the already mentioned loss of one of the largest Russian vessels in less than 2 months of war. The second lesson is that naval battles are no longer fought solely by ships. During World War II, in the Pacific War, naval battles went through the aircraft carrier revolution, with the largest and most important battles between the United States and Japan being decided not at sea but in the air. And now, in the 21st century, in the Black Sea, battles have gone through another revolution, led by aerial and especially naval drones, with long-range and high-precision missiles also playing an important role in destroying support infrastructure for ships. Finally, the ultimate lesson is that the power of navies can no longer be measured by the number of ships they possess but by their ability to project power through a wide range of new means, such as aerial drones, naval drones, and missiles. The fact that a country with practically no navy forced the powerful Russian Navy to abandon its bases in Crimea is a feat of enormous importance that will serve to reshape many paradigms of modern naval warfare. Thank you for watching the video until the end. If you liked the content, don't forget to leave your like. This helps the channel grow and reach more people. If you didn't like it, leave your dislike and explain in the comments how we can improve. Also, comment on suggestions for topics we can cover here. Insulting comments or those defending dictatorships or war criminals will be summarily blocked. Thank you for your understanding. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button below and hitting the bell to receive all notifications. Thanks. See you next time.